The NBA playoffs are in full swing down in the bubble in Orlando. My good buddy, Rebecca Harlow. I've worked so much with her at the Big Ten Network doing track and field. She is doing an outstanding job for the NBA on TNT plus NBA television. But I wore the Big Ten shirt for Rebecca. And when you work with Rebecca Harlow, one thing's for sure, you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of fun as we
Oh my
do
gosh.
at
Oh my
the Big
gosh.
Ten.
Look at
It
those
is.
pictures you dug up.
I
That is
dug.
amazing.
I dug them out. Let's go down to Orlando and say hi to Rebecca Harlow in the bubble. Rebecca, how are you doing?
I am wonderful, and it is so great to chat with you. I can't believe you found those pictures. You need to send those to me after we
Yeah,
finish the show.
yeah. I dug them up just for you. Um, how is life in the bubble? I mean, it seems like you can't do much. Are you like stuck like in a camp somewhere?
Yeah, it is. It does. It feels a little bit like old school camp, really, because we are stuck on these grounds that we can't leave. But you know what? Honestly, I'm so proud of the NBA for the way that they have pulled this thing off. It has been unbelievable to see all the work that they've done to make this possible. And the fact that it's been several months now and not one player has come up with COVID, and no one else, and none of the workers have also come up with COVID. It's just been so amazing to see the layers and layers of work that go into this thing. I mean, the bubble experience is wild. It is. It's, I think I've been here for 5 weeks now, 5.5 weeks now. And so
Wow.
you realize it's a big chunk of time, but also I'm so busy working that
Hmm.
you don't really notice that you can't leave the grounds, so to
Hmm.
speak,
Now, are you tested every day?
every day.
Wow. With the swab or up the nose?
Both.
Wow. That's not
Yeah.
fun.
No, you know what? Honestly, let's debunk that right now. I feel like early on in this whole COVID situation, a lot of people thought that it really hurts. And
Hmm.
maybe it did originally, but the way that they have come along with the testing, it's really not that bad at all. So if anybody has fear of that out there, it's really not that bad. But yeah, it's just easy. It's a quick swab.
Now, Rebecca, we've worked so many track and field events for the Big Ten Network.
Hmm.
That's why I have this shirt. The one thing about me, I think I can dress. I throw a suit on. This is probably the first time you've seen me without a suit on. But I must say, you have been unbelievably sharp in
Oh,
the bubble. And tell me about this outfit. I love the pink mask.
oh, thank you. Yeah, the interesting thing about the mask situation is it's really hard to broadcast and project when you have something on your face like that. So for me, it's kind of been twofold. I have wanted my mask to match my outfits. I figure if I'm going to wear it, I want to have some fun with it, hence, the bright pink color that I was wearing there. But first and foremost, it's finding one that's comfortable to broadcast in addition to being safe. So
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of a lot of factors, and it was definitely some trial and error at the beginning. If you wear a mask that's too close, that's not quite the right material, whenever you go to inhale and take a breath, you suck it in to your mouth,
Oh,
and then it's hard to talk. So it was kind
mm-hmm.
of getting over the hurdles of finding the ones that are comfortable. But now that I've been doing it for so long, I'm so used to wearing it that it just feels like it's not really
Nah.
there.
Well, I like the coordination here, the black sleeves with the black mask.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah,
Well, I
look, hey,
appreciate that coming from you because you are always styling.
but
So,
you took it to another level. This
oh,
this was this had me falling off my couch when I turned on the TV and saw this one. I was like, now that is cold. I love the white jumpsuit.
thank you. The jumpsuits have actually come into play. I wore one for game 7 last night, Boston, Toronto as well, because it is freezing cold in those two arenas. And it is the funniest thing because it's so hot outside and then the air is going so hard inside the arena that I'll show up in sweatpants and then not change until right before the broadcast starts. But the jumpsuit has been great because they're comfortable to run around the floor in, one, but two, they keep me warm.
Well, I tell you what, I love the white. You took it to a Kenny McReynolds level with
Oh,
that white. That was okay. Hey, now, but let's get serious. You're a sideline reporter. You're there for TNT and also NBA television.
mhm.
The Bucks and the Magic are supposed to play a game. You can show up ready for work. You've done hours of preparation. The Bucks say we're not going to play because of Jacob Blake. They want to protest for racial injustice. What do you have to do, and what was that like? I can only imagine what that was like.
Yeah, that was a really intense moment, actually, because we went into that game and it was the night before that Giannis Antetokounmpo had been named Defensive Player of the Year. So I went into that broadcast thinking that we were going to talk about him as the Defensive Player of the Year, everything that he's done to grow his game, and all these topics that are really fun and interesting, but certainly don't have the same weight as all of the social justice issues that we're dealing with. But, looking back on it, I will never forget that experience because I believe so deeply in equality and I believe so deeply in everything that we're fighting for right now that to me, to all of a sudden have that moment to switch over where I went from a sportscaster to delivering hard news on a very important, serious topic in real time was very special. I mean, I really, truly in that moment thought to myself, okay, I just want to do this justice because this is bigger than sports. This is bigger than a basketball game. And I knew that this was going to be something that was not only going to go down in sports history, but also American history. And, looking back on it, the way that the Bucks did it, I really have so much respect for them because it was in the spur of the moment that they decided to do that they decided that they weren't comfortable playing that game. Obviously, it hit hard for them coming from that state where that happened to Jacob Blake. So it was interesting from a network perspective because all of a sudden, at first, honestly, Kenny, I didn't realize what was going on because there were no clues or signs that was going to happen until they didn't take the floor. And even in the first couple of minutes, I'm thinking, oh, they're just late, they're running behind, whatever. I'm still focused on the broadcast starting. And then as those minutes started to tick by, we realized that something bigger was happening. And there had been talks about a potential boycott. But to me, if it had been planned, I don't think it would have gotten the proper attention. And so it was something that came together so organically. And then talking to the players after it, I think this is really interesting too. Talking to the players after it, once it was happening and once they actually left the locker room 3 hours later, I was getting texts from a couple of them saying, well, what's going on out there? Because they had been locked in the locker room. So they didn't know what was happening on the other side of those doors. And so it was interesting that all of a sudden there was a national platform, right? Because we go live on air and what is viewers who are there to watch a basketball game quickly turn into viewers all across the country wanting to see what is unfolding with this story. I started getting texts from friends all over the country saying, oh, hey, wow, this, we're tuned in. This is really interesting. And again, I just so wholeheartedly believe in equality. So that's been an interesting piece of this bubble. These guys are excited to continue to play for a championship, but there have been lots of really good conversations and talks about how to really make an impact and making sure that people are registered to vote. And just brainstorming and having real conversations with people from all different backgrounds about how they feel about all these things. And that to me has been really special about being down here.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of not just the NBA players, but all of the athletes around the country in all sports really taking a stand saying, hey, enough is enough. And they're all using their voice. I think it has been absolutely wonderful. Hey,
Yeah.
as a sideline reporter, can you prepare yourself for something that happened that day, or that just go back to your natural instincts? Say, hey, this happened. I have to do the best I can. Can you prepare for something like that? Because everything totally changed.
Well, the short answer is no. None of us had ever seen anything like that before. I have never been part of a broadcast that just all of a sudden doesn't happen, where a team doesn't take the floor. But yes, in the sense that, as you know, live TV is an evolving thing, and things go wrong on live television all the time, where your IFB goes out right before an interview, or you lose connection to the truck, or all of these different things that have happened over the course of a career doing this, where you learn to react on the fly. And so those instincts kick in terms of how you want to handle a situation like that. But it wasn't about me in that moment. So it wasn't like I ever sat there and thought, okay, how am I doing? What do I need to do? It was more like, how do I do justice to a very real, evolving, important conversation that's happening? So for me, it was all just about getting as much information as I could, and then relaying that back to the viewers and the network so that we could do justice to the coverage. That's what it was about for me that day.
And I don't think people realize how much work goes into being a sideline reporter. When we worked together at the Big Ten Network, Terry Ewert, our outstanding producer, I call him Coach, we meet Friday night, we're there Thursday morning, and then the track meet may be Saturday. We're there 8 o'clock in the morning, but we don't start taping till 2 o'clock.
Right.
So people don't realize the work you put in. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of work. But that's what makes me at least feel confident when I go on air again in those live situations, that I've done all of the research. I've had all the conversations about the game with the coaches and the various players to develop all the different storylines and whatnot. I've read every single thing that there is to read, so that you do feel comfortable pivoting in any direction that the game may go. But it is true. It is true that I have that conversation all the time with people who want to get into this business, because when you look at it just from the TV perspective, it looks so glamorous, and it is. It's
right.
fun.
It is.
It's exciting. But about 10% of it is that on-air camera time, and then the rest of the 90% of it is the work and the preparation that goes into it. So it's a balance. It's a balance. It's a lot of work, but as long as you love what you're doing, and I love what I do, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to get into this business. What's the one thing you tell people that want to be Rebecca Harlow? They want to work for Madison Square Garden or TNT or the NBA television.
Is do the work. It's that simple. It really is that. It's every single person in this television business, and you know this too, did the work to get into the position that they're in. And so, the example that I would use is when I was trying to get into this business, I was living in San Francisco, doing an internship for the Golden State Warriors. I was paying the bills by doing a PR job for the San Jose Sharks. And then I was getting paid $20 a game to work for a little magazine show for the Sacramento Kings. And so every single day I would wake up in San Francisco, drive to San Jose, which is about an hour 15, and I would do my PR job, and then I would drive 2 hours to Sacramento to get paid $20, which didn't even cover my gas, and do that magazine show. And then I would drive all the way home to San Francisco. And then on weekends, I was interning for the Warriors and NBC and ABC in San Francisco. And that's what you do. Then I was tutoring and waitressing and doing everything else on the side just to make enough money to make it all work. And so everyone in this business has that story about what they did and the time they put in to get into a position where someone will actually put you on TV. And so you just really have to love it, and you really have to want to do the work, because again, if you look at it from the lens of, oh, that's cool, you get to show up at games and talk about sports.
No, not at all. Hey, especially if you work with Terry, especially if you work with Terry, and I know Terry's going to watch this because he sees the both of us. Hey, we're there 5, 6, 7 hours before the event starts, so you got to do the work. But I learned so much from Terry. I call him Coach. I totally love Terry. I learned. I thought I knew what it was like to be a sideline reporter until I worked with you and Terry. You guys took me to another level with tips, showing how hard the work was. I thought I was working hard. You guys showed me what it was really like to be a sideline reporter and what it took to get me to the next level.
Oh, Terry's the best. Hi, Terry. If you're watching, I miss you.
Yeah, he's going to watch. Hey, okay, NBA championship. Do you have a prediction at all? What do you think?
Ooh, I don't know. Am I going to get in trouble for making a prediction?
Well, I don't want you to get in trouble.
I think that the deepest team is the Clippers.
Agreed.
I think the Clippers have a shot to win the championship. I think they are exceptionally well coached. So if I was going to make a prediction, I would say it's the Clippers. I will also say, though, that I think people have, everyone talks about how the NBA runs through the West. I don't know about that, because Boston and Miami are tough. They are tough teams. I cannot wait for that Eastern Conference Finals. I think it's going to be an incredible matchup. I think you can never underestimate Jimmy Butler. And then with Boston, they have such a young, incredible core when you look at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and then a guy with a lot of experience, Kemba Walker. They're so well coached, in Brad Stevens, that I think the East is very solid this year too. I mean, I'm just excited for it all the way around, but hand to the fire, I'm going Clips.
Yeah, I think the Clippers are the best team. I grew up with Doc Rivers. I still know his home phone number back in Maywood by heart.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chicago boy over there.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy. I know him, we grew up together, but I think the Clippers have the best team. After the NBA playoffs, what's next for Rebecca Harlow? I mean, what do you do to relax? I know you work for the Knicks. You're their sideline reporter on MSG. We don't know when the NBA is going to start next year. What's next after you're allowed to get out of the bubble?
I am going to chill out with my dog.
Just relax.
I'm going to chill. I'm going to chill for a little bit, just take a breather and regroup, and we'll see how all the season and everything unfolds, and the timing, and the draft just got pushed back. So, it's all up in the air, but it's all up in the air for everyone in this country right now. I'll tell you one thing I'm going to do is vote, and then I'm going to chill with my dog, and the rest we will see.
We will see. Hey, Rebecca, I know you're super busy down in Orlando in the bubble. Hey, thank you so much for taking time out being with me. We don't get to talk as much as we used to, but I know you've been working a lot down there. And for you to take this time out to be with me means an awful lot to me.
Oh my gosh, Kenny, for you, anytime, always. You are the best. It was awesome to chat with you. And we got to make more of a habit of this, my friend.
You got it. And keep up the jumpsuits. I love them.
Thank you.